Can't believe I have to do this, but the following video will contain spoilers, so beware the video if you don't want spoilers. If you do, just whatever, you do what the fuck you want. Alright, it's Friday, the 14th of January. I'm heading to AMC right now because we're gonna go see that Scream movie. So Scream was my first horror film I ever watched when I was a kid, the 1996 Scream. Now let's see if Scream 5, which is technically what's called Scream, because for some reason not calling Scream 5, it's just Scream. Let's see how it feels, alright? Alright, let me show you guys the poster for Scream in the movie theater. It's always someone you know. Alright. Alright everybody, I just saw the movie. Wow. Wow, you know. I'm very happy I saw it the first day. Good thing the movie wasn't as popular as Spider-Man, which would probably took me weeks, and I probably no spoilers, but you know, I'm very happy I saw the movie. You know, 25-year anniversary film. Really, no one. I think I figured why it's called Scream, not Scream 5. Like, even though it's technically Scream 5, I get it. I get why, because it was. I mean, I'm gonna do spoilers anyways. I'm gonna talk about spoilers anyways, but let's just say it's something that if you like the original, you'll probably appreciate this film more. So you'll probably like than the other Scream films. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Scream film. You know, it was a 25th anniversary film. Scream was my first film that I saw. I saw that film when I was like very little. One was like a toddler, and then now, you know, this is the first. Now, like, you know, it's cool seeing the first Scream film, and hopefully the last. I think it's fitting as hopefully the last Scream film. I don't think, you know, obviously there's no need to be reboots or whatever. So it was a good film though. I enjoyed it. Alright, well, I'll get home and we'll do the full review. Alright, before I head home after the movie, just a little fries review. This is Five Guys, ladies and gentlemen. Five Guys. And I'm eating the fries right now. I haven't had Five Guys in a long time. Let's see if it's still good. It's a little advanced Five Guys review. Very good. Very good fries. So it costed $9.57 with the soda. Very good. So that's my Five Guys review. Yeah, only fries, because gotta keep it halal, you know what I mean? And that extra fry, boy, very good. Yeah, hi. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the official portion of the video. It is time for the Scream 2022 review, or Scream 5, whatever it is. And I think I get why they call this Scream 5. Really, because it's more like the original, but it's like the next generation, kind of. It's basically, yeah, it's Scream the Next Generation. It's all the fun things from the original film. It's like the original source material, but like it actually like works for this modern take. If anything, this is what Scream 4 wished it was. I don't hate Scream 4 at all. I don't hate any real Scream films. I'll watch it if they're on. Definitely the original is the best. Is this film better than Scream the original? No. No, not really. Is a Scream film good? It is a good film. I thought it was a good film. It was good. I enjoyed it, you know? And it's pretty cool, you know? For 25 years, as a 25th anniversary kind of film, it's not an anniversary film, but like, it's supposed to be like after 25 years, the events of the movie. And, you know, it's pretty cool watching it. Like, was the 1996, the original Scream film, and now 2022, and it's pretty cool. Like, this was my first Scream film that I watched in theaters. The other film, I mean, I was alive when Scream 3 came out, or, you know, or not just that, even Scream freaking 4. but I was too young to even watch those films, in theaters. I was a toddler when like Scream 3 came out, and Scream 4, like I was just 10 years old now. I probably wasn't like old enough to watch the film. So, I mean, if I had a chance, sure. Same thing with like Halloween. The Halloween Resurrection was the first film that was out when I was born out, but I was like a toddler, so I wouldn't be able to really watch it. So I'm really happy that I watched this film though. This was the first day, and I enjoyed it. I thought the film was very good. If anything, this film had more stakes involved. More. This film really did felt like the original Scream. It gave me that feeling. I honestly had that feeling. Than the other films. I mean, I think the only difference from the other difference is just the camera work. Obviously, it's 2021 or 2022 now. The camera work is so much different. Even I prefer the old camera style work, but like, it's pretty cool. Like I enjoyed the film. I think it was good. But let's talk about what I like, what I don't like. There's really nothing I don't like at all. Like I really don't like. There's nothing that I hated. If anything, I will say about Scream, about this movie, I probably like this film better, just by a little bit. I think I like this film better than Halloween Kills. And I've been seeing a lot lately now. People are saying that Halloween Kills is not a good film. I mean, more power to you if you didn't. But I still enjoyed Halloween Kills. I thought it still was a fun film to watch. But definitely, Scream has taken the basically taken the toll of being a great horror film, especially the best sequel film. Honestly, Scream 5 or Scream 2022 has proven to be a best sequel for the original Scream movie, and it really has. You know what I mean? It's not like, and you don't even need to really watch the original film. Like, the film is good. Like, it actually feels like a continuation in a way, and it's not like really like obviously like the reason. This is like the whole we're gonna include spoilers. How they this is a relative of somebody, basically like how like say this is a fucking fan fiction crap. Sure that's the case, but like in a way it kind of like works out. It works. It just works. This is a film that you shouldn't really think like like so much of. Like this is supposed to be meant to be like a fun film. Like you know what I mean? It's supposed to be a fun fucking film. I'll be right back. Alright, I want to give a shout out to Facebook, basically, all these people from Facebook, and I want to definitely say shout out to them. Like this is a good point. So pre-screened a Scream, good film. The movie thankfully is a return to the good old days before the whole Sydney cousin fiasco. Back when Scream was fun, painfully self-aware, but extremely predictable. Like real fans love it. They paid homage to the legacy crew with clever references that true fans will pick up on, but with a story that seemed as fresh today as it did when Wes Craven's original telling of the story so many years ago. Basically, that's why I said that this film was basically the Scream the Next Generation. It basically was kind of like a retelling of the original film, just with a new generation of cast, but it's really more twists and turns than before. It's an anniversary film if you really think about it. It's kind of like Halloween H2O, really. So, yeah, seemed very light veiled as all they have headed towards a whole new angle for the continuation of the franchise, which is dark and mysterious with a classic feel, yet edgy and new, pretty graphic for the Scream movie. Great use of special effects and camera angles take the viewer on a mental journey and brutality without really showing the manner of the first chainsaw, where your mind tells you, "Oh God." Yeah, basically there's actually no, we'll talk about that later. That was graphic, but it really LOL. Good job, Scream. You are really kicked. Basically it was praising the Scream film. Then you got people who took this film seriously and they were hoping to get released something new or whatever. Like they thought this. So basically, this guy says, I don't know why I always get hopes for these reboots remakes, or sequels. Scream 2022, it was not good. It's crazy because I knew it will be the same old stuff based on the trailers. Basically, you got guys complaining that, oh, this is the same thing. It's like, that's what horror films are. Like, really, if you think about it, it's the same thing. And the idea, if anything, it's supposed to be sort of like a callback to the original. You know, it just really is a new generation type of film. It's supposed to be a callback, but it adds some new ideas. Okay, that's what really this film is. If he's especially like, even if they didn't really advertise this as a 25th anniversary film, they mention it. So that kind of makes this a 25th anniversary film. So if anything, it's like homaging the original, but also introducing new people. That way, you know, you actually care, like, if they're going to do sequels in the future, and they're going to tell its stories. But along with, it's going to be new generation of ghost faces with their stories, blah, blah, blah. Alright? So it's fine. Yeah, I thought this film was still good. So let's talk about now the story. So basically, who's Ghostface? Why is Ghostface a thing? And yeah, is it targeting Sydney, basically, or whatever? So, for once, we actually get a film. We actually get a screen film that's not entirely about Sydney Prescott. That she's not the main person that gets killed. We're focusing on now a new protagonist in the Scream series, where so basically, this is, like it's mentioned in the movie, this is a reschool or sequel, reschool. That's what they're calling it, reschool. Yeah, apparently that's what, and it mentioned that's what the the in the know smart horror geeks are. So, this basically this film, it's honoring the original Scream. You have characters who are related to the old Scream and stuff like that, which again, I don't mind, but obviously, like, it's those scenarios where, oh, there is a reason why it exists and whatever. Especially with the final girl now, especially with the main character Samantha Carpenter, which is a nice callback to John Carpenter, because they're honoring the Carpenters. By the way, the chick who plays Samantha, really pretty cute girl, a beautiful, but not only that, great actress. I think that she acted very good in this film. Her being now the new Sydney Prescott, basically. She's the main she was the main focus. So, well, let's talk about the film. So the film started with the person who I think is from Disney Channel, the girl from Disney Channel. There's this actress. It started off basically sort of like the Drew Barrymore stuff. She's from Disney Channel, I believe. I didn't enjoy that show that she was in, but more power to her. She did good in this film, I will say. The actress who was the sister, Tara Carpenter. So it started with we introduced with Tara, and basically she's guest Halloween trivia. Ghostface called her, but Ghostface sounded like a normal person. And then we got all this stuff like, oh, and then eventually it got into her senses that, oh, this is not a person who's trying to talk to her friends or whatever. This is this is literally becoming like, the usual screams like, oh, it's callback to the original movie, scary movie trivia. They mentioned Stab as a movie instead of like Halloween and stuff like that. They mentioned, because we don't know really, like, Stab, right? They know Stab because in their universe, Stab is basically like the Scream. So again, just because of this whole meta thing, this meta drama crap. Yeah, we get, and it basically, like, it's oh, they're referencing the old Scream movies. They're referencing freaking Billy Loomis and Stu Moocher or whatever. Yeah, basically Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Yeah, all this tricky stuff, and we see, oh, Tara, she simply gets murdered, but then she doesn't get murdered, which, that's an interesting twist. We thought she was gonna be like the first act to die, but she actually doesn't die. The first act is actually some guy, just random guy who's like a creepy dude. He gets killed. I don't think we got really much. I mean, we do get kills, but like some of the kills is like really not like as like much, you know, or just like the people like it's also kind of unbelievable how some people survive in this film too, you know, but I mean it's you know I'm not that kind of guy like oh like, this guy didn't get killed or really didn't die from that like as long as it makes sense, you know, I mean yeah given like these people are young, you know they probably could survive like getting stabbed a bit times, but if you get like legit killed like how they're killed like it's crazy, you know. But it was a fun film to watch. So basically, yeah, the little sister gets attacked. The older sister Samantha, who's now the main girl of this Scream franchise, of the main girl of this Scream, gets called that oh you know her sister got attacked and got her introduced to her boyfriend and blah blah blah. Then they talk about horror films and apparently the boyfriend doesn't know about what Stab and whatever. He doesn't know what the Stab is, but he knows about other films and shit like that. Then they'll go to see the you know Terror Survives and then they try to yeah they also go through the classmates or whatever, and then we see and we go to find out we get this revelation oh why this has probably happened saying it's my fault or whatever, and basically Sam admits that the reason why this is probably happening is because apparently and oh they know her secret. That apparently the reason this is all happening because Sam's father is Billy Loomis. I don't mind this, you know. I guess this gives a reason, but if anything, this is like kind of too easy of a reasoning because like, really, just because she's the daughter of a serial killer, this is happening and shit like that. It gets crazy, but like, I guess they made it work. So yeah, Billy Loomis. Yeah, so basically the actor Steve Urkel, the guy who plays Billy Loomis, he actually. What the fuck? So yeah, Billy Loomis basically becomes like a. It's I don't know what's the term, but it's basically like oh you know the ghostly reflection. So the ghost or the dead Billy Loomis is a thing. Like it haunts Sam. It haunts Sam for some reason. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a possibility. Like oh, you know, Billy can you know have a dog. Like I don't know because apparently like you know the like the mother cheated and whatever, and like that's like kind of Billy's thing. Maybe like as you see his character, he's like a ladies guy. Maybe like he's that kind of play that you know what he'll probably be like fucking some chicks, so you know having sex and whatever. So that's basically what happened, and that can happen. So it's probably reasonable. Maybe you're sure, okay. And then because this haunts her, and for some reason Ghostface wants to kill Sam, like, cause oh, she's the daughter of Billy. Again, this all goes back to like creating a movie and shit like that. And then eventually, Sam and her boyfriend go to help. And then Dewey even points out the idea that you know, oh, her boyfriend might be the killer. So we got introduced to Dewey again. Dewey is back. So yeah, they brought back the three cast members, the main three. That seemingly will always survive a film. Doesn't happen in this new Scream. Definitely doesn't happen, unfortunately. But I guess it helps. They go to Dewey. He is now retired as a sheriff. And also they kind of tie up to some real life kind of things that they bring the idea that oh him and Gail divorced, basically like Courtney Cox's character, how in like real life. David Arquette and Courtney Cox are divorced in real life. So they kind of bring that kind of real life element to the film again, you know, with breaking kayfabe. No, not really breaking kayfabe, but it's kind of like, you know, Kim's that like realistic kind of sense, which you kind of like understand, and that's kind of cool, you know, they mention. And then he's like denying the idea of trying to help them, like he keeps mentioning how to survive this stuff, basically going through like, oh, it could be people you know and stuff like that. So basically, the Friends of Terror are the people who are probably responsible of who are Ghostface. And then this leads to Dewey, like, after reluctantly trying and not want to help them, then he gets like a reflection, you know what, I'm going to help them. So he helps them, even though he thinks this is, or like, as soon as it might be a bad idea, but then he's like kind of glad that he's helping them. they go to like the friends, and yeah, and we also see Dewey's sister back. Dewey's sister, they actually brought her back as a character. That's pretty cool. Who was introduced, I think, in Scream 3. So she's back in the film. They brought her back, and she seemingly has two black children. Like, which again, I'm not problem. Like that can happen. Like you can be married to a black guy, and then she probably had like black kids and stuff like that. We don't know who the father is though, but you know, it is what it is. And they're like twins like that. I think yeah, they're twins. And yeah, they're the nephew and nieces of Randy, from the original film, and God rest his soul in the film, right? Um, and they kept pointing out how like, and they seem like they're like nephew and nieces, like uncle or whatever that case is. They have these horror movie trivia's, like they can't possibly be the killers, right? And yeah. Eventually, one of the friends do get killed. The 13 Reasons Why guy, he does get killed. I don't know his. Apparently, he's the one that called Sam. Yeah, what I think Wes. I think he was named after freaking Wes Craven. Due to the name Wes, he gets killed along with the mother who was introduced in Scream 4, which I'm surprised that they killed her off. They killed her off because they were like, oh, they mentioned, do you remember the movie Psycho? Who was gonna go shower? And she was gonna go get like sushi. She gets killed along with her son. Definitely gruesome. Like it's crazy, but like that helps the story. And that leads to Dewey, you know, like, oh, sorry about like the, you know, Dewey and Dewey and Gale reuniting together. But then, well, Gale's busy. Like they realize, oh, you know. Tara's in trouble because the deputy was supposed to help make sure Tara was survive. They go back to the hospital, and then it was a struggle. Like yeah, it was a crazy crazy scene, and unfortunately, Dewey does die this time. It looks like definitely because there's no like it's mentioned like it was definitely surrounded. Yeah, like he died. That's crazy. Dewey. We would think that Dewey would survive anything. Unfortunately, he's an old, washed-up dude, and he dies. He dies. Basically just like how Sheriff Brackett, you know, Sheriff Meeker, and Halloween and shit. He dies, unfortunately. And I like, it's an honor. Basically, yeah, he dies. He dies by the killer. Basically like a fan of the Stab series and whatever, like it's an honor. Basically killing off the legend. So one of the legendary characters does die in this film, and is Dewey. It looked like he was gonna die by the trailers, and unfortunately it happened. David Arquette, you know, now he's had to even if they try to do a Scream films, they're gonna have to. He's not gonna be able. It wouldn't make sense to bring him back. He's gonna have to rely now just wrestling, you know, because unfortunately that's his kind of character. Like his he's not as popular to be cast as an actor, unfortunately, you know. But good for him bringing back, because at least this helps bring back his popularity. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. You know, I like David Arquette, so. But thank you for, you know, definitely being part of the Scream series. And yeah, he does die. If anything, this helps the movie. It helps emotion. In a way, though, I wish, like, if you're gonna kill him, I do wish at least they saved his death, at least towards the end of the movie, instead of like in the middle of the movie, because he was. If anything, this should have been that moment, like, oh, this is the saddest death that could possibly happen. This should have been. Not like, it's essentially like an Iron Man kind of death, like where Iron Man dies in like Endgame, but it shouldn't have been that kind of sense of idea, where he dies towards the end of the film, or at least in the end trying to help, you know? Which he does try, but unfortunately, like, as we got to know, he died just for unfortunately sad reasons, like, because we go to find out that, oh, it's all a trick that's, you know, one of the people saved, oh, he tried to save are actually the killer, and he mentioned like, oh, who possibly they be the killer, which goes on to reveal like, okay, so basically, Sydney does return. She actually returns even though she got called by Dewey to not come to Woodsboro, and we find out that, you know, Sydney is married. She has a husband now apparently, and she has kids, which is cool for her character. She finds some happiness in her life. But she does go back to Woodsboro to reunite with Gale to try to stop and get revenge for Dewey. And while Sam and her trying to save her, like, oh, they're gonna get the fuck out and stuff like that. They want to get the fuck out of Woodsboro, but then it's brought up that, oh, even though if they try to get out, the problem's gonna keep coming because it's like they're the characters and shit like that, right? Then this whole movie culminates like the first movie. It culminates in the same house, Stu Micker's house, or yeah, basically Shaggy, you know. Yeah, Stu. You could just call him Stu. It all culminates in the freaking in Stu's house. So yeah, unfortunately, Stu doesn't return. Because yeah, so it's the same house, but unfortunately, Stu doesn't return. There are theories, and I thought this would have been cool, like, if they brought back Stu, but, like, again, the idea is he actually died in the first film. There's some people say, oh, he may have survived, because apparently in, like, Scream 2, his actor, Master Lurid, was in Scream 2, but, like, as an off-camera guy. Well, but, like, that would be stupid, though, if they mentioned, oh, he survived and it was there. But not just that, like, his character wasn't intended like, oh, he died, you know, with the TV smashed and whatever. Some people say he might have survived that. I mean, it would have been cool, you know, what have added something to this film, like, you know, 25 years later, and like, oh, it made sense, you know, maybe, oh, this film is happening and shit like that. And especially because, like, the sound effects of some of like when Ghostface would get hit, it did sound like Matthew Lillard, like, you know, his voice, like, because they would like try to make like, oh, Ghostface not perfect, but he's like human, you know. But unfortunately, he's not the killer, even though it would happen in his house. But it's not his house anymore. I think it's like Amber's house, like the friend of Tara. And it turns out, you know, in a twisty kind of way, she's the killer too. She is the killer, Amber, who owns the house, and the boyfriend of the main character is the killer. But the thing is with the boyfriend, like Sam's boyfriend, who like he was presented as so nice and whatever. Like, he can't possibly be the killer. He's trying to help and stuff like that. There was a side that, oh, Tara might be the killer because she's best friends with Amber. Or, like, well, Tara is best friends with Amber, so she might be the killer. But then it's like revealed, like, oh, you know, what a twist. So there's been twists. Like, they took the same idea of the original idea, but kind of like twisted up a little bit. Amber's like, okay, fuck this. I don't give a shit. I'm not putting on an act anymore. I'm the killer and shit like that. After being ideas like, oh, they could be killers. And it worked out. You know, it worked out in a way. Alright, gotta keep this quick because the storage is going down. But yeah, so in the end of the day, Gale and Sydney get their revenge. The new final girl, Sam, gets her like revenge basically. She fights off the boyfriend. They have a fight with each other, and then, you know, she basically is like, you know, oh, don't fuck with the serial killer's daughter. She basically go ham on murdering the motherfucker, like, you know, the tricks all like eventually leading to her killing him. And then she doesn't fuck around, you know, she gets the gun, like, oh, they always come back, shoots him. The girl, the friend Amber, who's the friend circle, Amber gets killed by getting, oh, pass the torch, you know, the idea, oh, pass the torch, man, I'm the new face of Scream. And yeah, basically this whole thing is like, oh, you know, they mentioned how the Stab series, like, oh, the movies became the Stab series, basically referencing like Scream movies, how people thought the movies weren't good. And they mentioned how, oh, nowadays, like, people care about these stupid movies like Hereditary or whatever. It's like the slasher films. And like they mentioned that, and then like, oh, this was their attempt to make people care about the Stab series because they're filming the movie. And then eventually, yeah, you know, this was a take, and yeah, no wonder it's like a reschool, and it lives up to the name. So yeah, Amber gets killed by passing torch, literally getting burned, and also gets shoot by Tara, who started this. There's like clues, like, oh, the killer's not perfect because Amber like had to. Let's just say there's so much to talk about this film. This film, it definitely honored the original. It wasn't like, it was like, sure, it's like there's some same ideas, but it was like good twists, like, you know,
you would think, oh, this is a twist. They're gonna go with the same twist, but then oh, it's like on top of that is another twist, and like it's not in exactly the same. Even though it's that kind of bullshit that oh, let's copy someone's homework and oh, like just basically change it up a little bit, even though it does feel that way. But in a way, it does feel like a good sequel, and there are some good ideas that offered in this film, and also is a good way to introduce the new final girl in that. Yeah, overall, man, I thought the film it really captured the feel. It had the feel like they basically they had they did refer to the old, Westboro High School. They had like it kind of gave me that feel when they had the camera work, like oh, the Westboro High School. They did that. They had that. The characters. They kind of like it was a modern Woodsboro freaking thing. Yeah, I don't know why I said Westboro. Woodsboro. It felt like definitely like a modern take of Scream, but like it's like in the same time it was a sequel but like not like a complete. It definitely was the reschool, as to say. It was probably the best requel I've seen, honestly. If anything, if that's a requel, I think that's how you do requel. I think that's how it gets done. They brought back the legacy characters, even though yes, it sucks. Like the loss of Dewey, but it made sense. It added so much stakes to the like getting Sydney and Sydney and Gale to put an end to this, basically stopping Ghostface. It all made sense in the end. Even though yeah, Richie he, like basically pulling a Billy, but like it with a little bit of a twist and stuff like that. But like it all helped in the end. I thought it was and basically it was toxic fandom. It was basically like a fan fiction, sort of like how they mentioned it in the earlier in the film. Um, it was definitely a great requel, as they say. So yeah, definitely like it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, like definitely like in the movie, it's insisted that Sam is like has the troubled past, like she's not as close as she used to with her sister, and like oh she has problems with the sheriffs and stuff like that. Like the sheriff doesn't like her, or basically she has trouble with the law because all she does them drugs, and also all because of apparently they know about her story that like oh she's Billy Loomis's daughter. Um, yeah, overall, definitely, I think the end. Oh yeah, they did end the film like after when everyone dies. Like well, not everyone dies. But basically, like the killers, like the ghost faces are dead. The survivors are Sydney, Gale, um, two sisters, Tara and Sam, along with the niece and nephew of Randy, because they're the people who know horror and all that stuff. Basically, the geeks, the nerds that know the horror, even though the the geek, even though like one of them's who's like the jock, he's not the geek, but I guess because like he's the nephew of he's the nephew of freaking what's his name? Yeah, freaking Randy. He gets to survive, so it's pretty cool. Also, like yeah, they do try to kind of like, I mean, they try to force like a stereotype, and well, not really, but like yeah. So Randy's niece, like the one who's the niece of the film, the who's like also smart about horror. She's lesbian or whatever. I mean, it's not a problem for as a guy, but like guess they kind of have to like okay, like hey, we got a lesbian in the movie, which is like not really needed, but it's like whatever. But it's like her being a lesbian is like a last minute thing. It wasn't really a big thing, which it didn't need to be, you know. But like they just had to shove it in, like hey, she's a lesbian, which is not a problem. It's like not really like a big deal. But yeah, like sadly no, sadly no, what's his name? No Matthew Lillard, which would have been really cool. Um, but yeah, like, but holy shit, Billy Loomis returned as a ghost. Apparently, kind of makes sense in her being the father of the new heroine. A requel, yeah, reboot of a sequel. Um, yeah, and also yeah, they talk about how like modern horror films like how people hate modern horror films. It's not like a slasher films and deal. And basically they mention how, like, oh, the problem of bringing legacy characters, like they basically yeah, mention like, oh, how nowadays, like, movies, they try to be like, bringing like legacy characters back, kind of ruining like Star Wars or Halloween and stuff like that. But like they're basically trying to make it better. And yeah, they mentioned, oh, this is basically a fan fiction, like, as the main character, Samantha says. And yeah, Amber's home is Stu's old house. Kind of makes you, like, it's reconnection of the original movie, going back to the original film, retelling the steps and all that stuff. I mean, again, it would have been cool if Stu was in the movie, but I guess, like, if he's dead in the original movie, then so be it. I will say, what would have been cool also, if they ended the movie with the same song as the original film. They didn't. They had like a different song. It was like somewhat like a It was like a mix of a happy and sad song. I couldn't really get the tone. I love that they brought back some old music, like like something like, I don't know. I can't, like, it's some monotone song. I don't know. They brought back like a cool, like, scream, like, song when he was, like, when, like, Ghostface was killing like, was it the creep of the film? That was pretty cool. And also, yeah, I think we even got some, yeah, like, other tunes that were from the Scream movie, which is pretty cool. Which gave me it made me happy. Yeah. So, it's, yeah, and yeah, some cool fan service. Again, bring back. This is like how you can say a legacy film done right. Like, not only just bring back the legacy characters, but feels rewarding. They're not the main. It works. It works. They're not just like, like, oh, just fan service. It actually works. So, and this movie ends for West. Ends for West. Yeah, basically the movie ends, like, obviously the people survive. They're all hurt, but they're gonna be together. And they all, and then Gail agrees that, oh, she's not gonna write about this, because apparently that's probably like why they always make these sad movies. Apparently that, oh, like in the movies, like, that's why there's always a scream, because, like, oh, Gail always writes about these stories, and that's how it leads to the movie. So maybe this is the last film, because, like, she's not gonna write about it. She's gonna write about Dewey, the life of Dewey, because in honor of him, which I think that's a cool idea. And honestly, if I be honest with you, I do think this should be the last Scream film. I think this was the best way to do the film. I think this should have been the best. This is the best way to end on a high note. End on a high note, especially when Dewey gone, one of the main characters. Honestly, and no more movies. I mean, they might do it. You don't know. Like, obviously, it's all about money. But, like, honestly, if you end the films like this, it worked. It worked, because Dewey was one of the main characters of Scream, and ending with him when he died, it kind of works out. It kind of works out there for. So hopefully, yep. Even though I would love if his character died in towards the end of the film, or at least kind of like maybe the last sad death, would have been cool. But, like, it was like, this is a good film, So, and yeah, definitely this was Scream the Next Generation in a way. That's what it was. Overall, man, I love this film. It gave me that feel when I was a kid watching this. I think I was like the only. I mean, here's the thing. I didn't scream like I was in the Spider-Man films. I just, like, oh my god, I like by myself, basically. There were people there, and I saw some people, like, yeah, there was no, like, no end credits, like, oh, you like Scream or whatever. And yeah, there were some cool people I saw in the movie theater. They liked it, and they was like, oh, they're like, they liked it. So I guess that's cool. Like, you have, this is a film that I think is gonna be beloved by the old fans, but also gonna be like people who are like a little taste of horror that may not know so much about Scream, but they will like this movie. Overall, I do think it's a good film. Thank you, Kevin Williamson, who helped with this film, because apparently he served as executive producer, even though there's different writers, but he did serve as executive producer. And this movie was made for Wes. This they gave a tribute to Wes Craven, because he sadly passed away back in 2015. So I do think this is also a good tribute to him, because God bless him, because he helped brought Scream to be what it is today. And I do hope this is the last film. I think this is a perfect way to end the Scream franchise in terms of the movies. If you want to do maybe TV shows, I don't think that would be a bad idea. Maybe do that. Like, even though season 3 sucked, it was like on something like, I don't know, some TV. Like when I was on NTV, it was alright. You know, I'm not hating on that, but I do think like for this was the best that good. This movie was that good. Where honestly, maybe you don't need. I mean, knowing Hollywood, they're gonna probably do another sequel, but I don't think they should. Then they're gonna kind of like ruin it because this is that good of a film. Where if you kind of do another one, what else can you really do? You know. Sure, you can focus on the main characters, but if anything, maybe what's best is probably leave the legacy characters behind. But that won't do well because people again they do mention like, oh well, then if they do like reboots that would be a problem. That's why the whole Requal idea works. In this film, it was not just a reboot; it was also a sequel. So I think because of that idea and like how they did it, and especially calling it just Scream, it works. And it works because it's going back to the original format, and it's like significant more. Because if they just call it Scream 5, then that means, oh, we'll probably see Scream 6 or whatever. If anything, it didn't make sense. I get it. And honestly, it should be the last film. Because it goes to show like this film really matters. And it's not just going to be another sequel. I do think, honestly, end the film on a high note. No more sequels. This is good. It's that good. Don't get too tempted. Honestly, spend that money. Maybe a sequel of Scream, but don't call it Scream. Maybe it could be something different. If you want to have something related to Scream franchise, maybe a sequel to the Scream franchise, but not necessarily Scream and Ghostface. Maybe something interesting in that. But even though people are not gonna really care, but at least that'll be different. Because I do think the story of Scream and Ghostface, honestly, this is a perfect way to end. Okay, there's nothing really better like you could really do. But hey. That's the if Stab can keep going in the Scream universe, then so will I guess Scream. But honestly, it just how they ended, especially with the idea of Gail Weathers, the Courtney Cox character, how she's not gonna write about any. It would make sense. That way, it doesn't mean Ghostface could keep making movies and stuff like that. Yeah, that's all I have to say, people. Fun film. It was a fun film. I enjoyed watching it. They're very fitting, and I do think it should be last. If there is another one, I'll see what happens, but let's hope this is the end, because I think it was that good of a film that you don't need to make another one. But overall, good film. Enjoyed it. There's not much to really say. Don't go in too much to expect that this is like high art. Horror film's not really supposed to be like high art, okay? It's supposed to be fun, Yeah, there was some gory stuff that happened in this film, but like not just that, but there was also like just it was some good characters, like acting, good developing stories and stuff like that. It would have been cool, like if they pull like what they've been doing Cobra Kai on TV, like they show like flashbacks. That would have been so cool. Like why not do flashbacks unless they don't have the rights? I don't know, but that would help. They need to bring flashbacks and like something that even Halloween been doing. Flashbacks that helps tell the story, so makes it interesting. And yeah, I guess this is the advantage of Scream, because like it's not like they're ignoring one. They're not really ignoring any films, but I do think definitely because of this film, this has proven to probably be a bit better than Scream 4, honestly. Because Scream 4 in a way kind of was trying to be like a reboot in a way, kind of like this idea was like a reboot idea. This is definitely a requel, and I think that it works, so it makes people care. All right, enough rambling. Overall, good film. Fun film. Good for if you're a Scream fan or just a little taste of horror. You'll like it if you like Michael Myers, Halloween, stuff like that. And especially they point out, similar to Halloween, the Ghostface thing, it definitely is with the boyfriend who becomes the killer, that pretends to be dumb, doesn't know about Stab, but like, yeah, it is, but it is what it is, Alright, people. God bless. Till next time. Peace. Yeah, bye. And Scream is definitely one of the best horror films out there. Besides a slasher film. No wonder it's a slasher. And they kept mentioning Halloween and Friday, Friday the 13th, Jason and shit like that. Alright, peace. Yeah, bye. God bless Ghostface. God bless everybody. And who knows? What is your favorite scary movie, guys? definitely Scream is one of my favorite scary movies, along with Halloween. So.